I recently traveled to the UK and spent 2 weeks over there, and to be honest with you, I came back completely different than what I would have expected, because as someone who has schooled there 11 years ago, I lived there for 1 year and 4 months, but now coming back again in 2026, it feels like a completely different experience. Maybe it is because of the difference in the experience of living there versus just visiting. That is why my experience was completely different, but I went there particularly because I had an account with Barclays Bank, which was created when I was a student. But now coming back, I needed that account to be live and active because it has become dormant after being inactive for 11 years. But returning to London felt completely different this time around, and I want to share with you my experience of being in the UK for 2 weeks straight. First things first, returning to London, there was this feeling of nostalgia because as someone who has stayed there for quite some time, at least 1 year and 4 months meant that, I was familiar with the environment and everything. But to be honest with you, I stayed mostly in Nottingham during my time there, but I had visited my uncle who lived in London, so I had various experiences in London because visiting Buckingham Palace, visiting like the Parliament area and all those central London Eye and all those places that you see most tourists visit. So I had a good grasp of what London was. So there was really this sense of familiarity immediately I landed. But one thing that was quite different was the fact that I had to use Gatwick Airport this time around. Unlike when I came previously and had to use Heathrow for most of my traveling and all that. And for the first time, I used the train from Gatwick to London Bridge before going to my uncle's house and all that. So basically, I was by myself for the most part of the start of the trip. So I had to see a lot of things by myself, experiencing the difference in the air, because when I was in the UK the last time 11 years ago, I mostly stayed in Nottingham, so I only visited my uncle in London and had to visit Buckingham Palace, London Eye, and most of those touristy places. So I did not really know much about London. But coming this time, it felt completely different because I was very present. I was not a student anymore. This time around, I was spending big girl money. So a lot of things had changed, but then not necessarily changed completely, because I think it is just that even when places remain the same, the people experiencing it are different, because now I was coming with a different vibe, a different perspective to my trip, being that I was on holiday rather than being a student like I was when I previously visited. Now let's talk about Portsmouth. This was my first time of ever leaving London and going to visit a completely different city from Nottingham, from London, which I was more familiar with when I came before. But now I decided to go and visit Portsmouth because my friend, whom I've not seen for the past 5 years, my childhood friend, had jackpot and relocated to the UK and now resides in Portsmouth. I've never thought of Portsmouth as a city where people visit. I have never even thought of any city called Portsmouth, but thank God I had that experience because it was a complete surprise. I went to so many places. Guys, so I'm currently in Portsmouth. This is my first time coming to Portsmouth and I'm excited. My friend is taking me to the beach side. Apparently Portsmouth is an island, so there's a lot of water around. Even coming here, I saw some. I was like, this is quite unusual for the UK, but after that we go to Tesco. I just want to go and see what Tesco is like again. It's been long. It's been 11 years since I came to the UK. So I'm kind of excited. I'm just capturing everything I can capture. And I'm taking you guys along with me. So I think I'll see you at the beach. Hey, Lily, come, let's go. Let's go to the sea. Let's go to the sea. I don't come to the sea. No, don't do that. What in the TikTok?
TikTok money already and Instagram.
Yeah, walk, let me see you. Yeah, come and take. Lily Rose. Take. Sure you wanted to break the other one. You should take this one too. And continue. The model with model village. Beach! Bye-bye! Oh. I do. How ashy my hands are.
They say you can't come to Portsmouth without going to the beach and going to Gumworth Way.
They say I can't come to Gumworth. Come to Portsmouth without going to Gumworth. What kind of name is that?
It's like it was a completely different experience, to be honest with you. Like I felt like a child again at the beach. So many things were not what I expected it to be. Maybe because I've never really heard of any city called Portsmouth before. That was why I did not know what to expect. I just wanted to go and see my friend whom I've not seen in a long time.
Guys, Bibi is disregarding my influencer status. What happened again? We are missing.
This is a different leaf from the one we entered before. Right? I knew it.
Bibi, I'm beginning to sound like an influencer.
Because that one did not have one.
Say the truth.
Are you not an influencer?
Influencer.
Thank God my friend's family had a car, so it was easy to move around, but it was quite a contrast of having a very quiet city in terms of living versus, going to these tourist places or these attraction places that people would not necessarily think of. So it was quite an interesting surprise seeing and experiencing Portsmouth from a first time view, a first time visitor, and having to experience so many surprises that I would never really associate with the city, or even because of the fact that I've never heard of any place called Portsmouth, but because my friend lives there, I had to go and experience the city. So sometimes you find that the places you least expect are the ones that usually give you the best memories, because trust me, Portsmouth left a huge surprise, a huge experience, a huge heartfelt, like first time experience in my mind, and I will never forget it. Anybody that visits the UK, I think I would tell them to try and visit Portsmouth, because it is a huge contrast in terms of what you think of when you think of the UK. Now, let's talk about my baby, my Shayla.
Nottingham does not even look anything like what I remember it as. Everything has changed a lot. Oh, my Nottingham. Oh, my Shayla. It's looking so strange.
Nottingham, guys. I visited Nottingham again after not being there 11 years. Like, I felt like my younger self again. I had to go and look for my university. And interestingly, I almost got lost.
Guys, I can't remember where my university is. I want to go to my university, but I can't remember where it is right now. Like, I've just been walking around and around. It's been 11 years. I just realized that 11 years is a long time. Wow.
Because a whole lot of changes has happened, or maybe because when I was there as a student, most of my experiences were revolving around going to my hostel, going to my shift, going to the city center, and that was it. But this time around, my friends who I stayed with were living in Hucknall, which was quite far away from, the general city of Nottingham. So it was a...
You stand up, Hanuman. Very nonsense people. He's good for see his face. Nonsense. Good for him. Which is our guy? He good. Miracle shall never end. Merci enemies. Stupid God. What are they not fighting for? He good. Now be smart till log on top this one.
New experience, a lot of surprises to what Nottingham was for me compared to what it used to be when I was there as a student. So I had to even tell one of my friends that took me to the city center, just drop me in this place, let me use my leg to walk. So I had to walk around a lot looking for where my university was, and when I saw it, I felt like
I think I see it. This is my university. This is my university. I have to go to the front. This is my university. Yeah. Yes.
Returning to my younger self.
I can remember walking down this place there every day. But now, it feels so strange. So strange.
They were even having a graduation ceremony. So it was a lot of nostalgia, a lot of, past memories just came flooding back.
So this was me 10 years ago, graduating. And now I feel like a big sister to those graduating. Talk to me nice. I guess I'm getting old. Oh,
I visited where I usually enter, the bus to go to my campus, because The city center was not where my campus was. The city center is more for the arts, businesses and all that campus, but the sciences, because I read chemistry, my campus was like out of the city, so we had to enter a bus to go to my campus.
Guys, if there's anything that was different from, experiencing this whole thing, because this block is the administrative block, it is that my campus was in another, like we had to enter a bus to go to my campus, so it's quite far away from here. Sciences is in another campus entirely. This campus is for those doing arts, sciences, social sciences and all that. But now I've finally come to Nottingham Trent University after 11 years, and I feel very accomplished to have done this. I feel accomplished to have come here. Yes, I achieved my goal. Yay!
And that was a nice experience. Like, just being in that moment felt quite nice. There were some changes, quite alright, but when I got to the city center, I got to the place where there used to be fountain, there were a lot of changes, but then there were not a lot of changes as well. But it was quite an experience, and I really loved going back to Nottingham after not being there for a very long time. It just got me thinking, what if my younger self just saw the current me right now? Like, what would it think? What would she think about me currently? Because I have definitely grown. I'm no longer that girl that was living from paycheck to paycheck, waiting for her uncle to pay her house rent and all those things. Now I have grown. Returning back, I was just like, this is quite nice. Like, the main idea here is that growth has happened, and I'm happy that I can see that growth. Now let's talk about some of the adventures I had while in London, because London gave birth to my first challenge, which I did on TikTok, 20 pounds challenge. Like, what can I get with 20 pounds in London? And I don't know who sent me to go and start in Borough Market, because it was an eye-opener for me. I decided to do like a 20 pounds challenge that turned to, I was like, what? But that experience was quite nice. I got to find out so many things about myself. I know that I am very picky when it comes to food, but when I got to that market, like the temperature of my picky eating was at the highest, because why was I looking for one thing that I can buy? Even when, I knew that there was one popular thing that I went there for, which was the strawberry and chocolate, that combo that is very popular. But at least I should see something that I can eat, right? But I found myself looking for so many things. But then the first place I even saw to buy something from was one, I don't know what to explain that thing as, because that stuff I don't even understand. At the end of the day, it was too sweet for me. I did not like it. I had to trash it, and that was £3.50 in the bin. Now let's move on to the other adventure. I went to look for something else, because I had to walk around a lot before I could find something that I could eat. I now found this supposed triple fried chips. Why is 5 pieces of chips, or should I say, let me say 7 pieces of chips, why is it 13 pounds? Like, that is a lot of money. Most of these tourist destinations always makes things very expensive, that you find that the things that they are selling to you are not worth the money that you're having to spend on it. I had a 20 pounds challenge, but at this point I had already spent almost how much? Add the £3.50, that's biscuits, sweet something that I bought first, plus this £13.50 chips that don't even make sense. I could only eat the chips on its own. My 20 pounds was almost gone, and I had not even tasted the main thing that brought me to the market, which was the strawberry and chocolate. Now, I decided to add more money, right?
Are you sure you don't want to share mine? You should. You should. Yes, of course.
How do you like it?
It's just strawberry.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right then.
It's just strawberry.
Why are you watching
It's nice though.
For the chocolate.
But the strawberry is very juicy. So
Thank you so much. And how did you come up with the Facebook?
I got the chocolate and strawberry. Guys, it is nice, but is it really worth £9.50 for 1 cup of strawberry and chocolate? I don't know, because even when I asked somebody, like, I asked the shop where I bought that first sweet thing that was £3.50, like, where can I get this strawberry and ice cream? Because it was not in the general place. Once you enter inside, you have to go to like a particular corner to look for it. The guy said, that stuff is not worth the amount. Can I give you a cup so that you buy strawberries and add chocolate on top by yourself? Why that was funny, but I really wanted to taste the main thing. So I got the chocolate and strawberry, came out to test it. I even met this lovely girl that has been looking for the place. I told her, girl, don't waste your money, share from my own, because trust me, that stuff is not worth £9.50. But obviously, tourism has hyped up the place, so you have to buy it, or if you're interested in it. At the end of the day, I ended up that my Borough Market experience with drinking a cup of coffee, even buying coffee beans, because that were the only things that I really liked and could not compromise on. But if there's any lesson I got from experiencing that Borough Market, it is that sometimes when you budget your trips, it does not always work as you plan it to, because why did £20 turn to a £52 expense? And when you convert that, especially when you are coming from like a naira earning environment, to now having to spend this money in things that you feel like they are not worth it, so you are always finding yourself converting, you find that sometimes your budgeting can only take you so far. So you just try to leave that your budget antenna and just experience it and love it, and move on to the next thing. Because at the end of the day, why do you love traveling if it is not to experience new things despite the financial implications that come with them? I love traveling a lot because the memories remain with you. Whatever experience you have, it is going to remain with you for life, rather than you listening to somebody telling you that experience. Going through this whole experience, there are so many things that surprised me about this particular trip. Like I said, maybe it is because now I came as a tourist, now I came on holidays rather than when I was a student, because why are things now so expensive? I can remember coming to the UK for the very first time. My uncle gave me £10 at the airport, and that £10 was enough for me to buy a whole groceries in Asda. Now coming back this time around, £10 could not even get me like two things. A lot of things has changed, inflation has happened, and then life still basically moves on. From the British politeness to the quiet city of Portsmouth to the nostalgic experience of Nottingham, you find that why there are so many changes that has happened, some things are still remain the same in terms of like, maybe the British people being British, but there are so many constructions going on now. The city is transforming. This time around, UK is experiencing heat wave, even though I can't really find that heat wave. Even when there is heat wave, I am always with my sweater because, as a Nigerian that I am, I can't be caught on fresh. UK weather has always never surprised me. That is one thing that is constant, because there will be sun and there will be cold at the same time. So whenever you're thinking of going to that country, just carry your sweater. Even though you're not wearing it, you will tie it on your waist, because the weather can flip on you, and that is one thing that can never change about that country. But I love that country as well, because there you tend to find a lot of family. You are not struggling to make friends. You are not struggling for so many things that you would struggle with if you go to a completely different continent or a completely different country where Nigerians are not found to be dominant in that area. Now we cannot talk about travel without talking about money, right? Like, how did I plan for this trip? What did I spend money on? What are the things I can spend this money on again and again and again? And things that I'm going to be skipping in my next trip. So like I've said time and time again, one thing I've done for myself as someone who loves traveling is to create a travel fund where you can always be pulling money, putting money here and there, especially if you have a particular investment that you can dedicate to that particular trip. So you know that this particular trip is going to be taking care of all my travel. Everything I'm going to spend money on in this trip is going to be from this particular fund. That way you find that you are not struggling to pull money from different places just to make a trip happen. If you have a travel fund, it is easier for you to, make plans around your trips. And when planning for your trip, one thing that can help you always is to make bookings very early on. 5 months, 6 months ahead will be your best bet, because that way you can get things at a cheaper rate rather than waiting last minute to start spending money that you did not plan for on things like accommodation, on flight and all those things. So you find that having a budget around your traveling will help you to partake in things like the £20 challenge without thinking about whether must you stick to that £20 or can your expenses be higher than that £20, because you are flexible in your finances. But make plans for that your trip so that you don't end up in a foreign country looking for money. For me, I like to while having my card as backup, I like to always carry all the cash I'm going to a country with in cash of that country's currency, so it is easy to convert. And one thing that you find that is very constant in every country, cash is king. In Asia, they would even prefer you to give them cash than your card. So I always go prepared with my cash and then card as backup. I most rarely use my card whenever I travel because I don't want to be caught on fresh, because there was a time when I went to Dubai and decided to buy chocolate in the airport. I just told the person attending to me, please try this card first before I pick the chocolate, because I know the country that I'm coming from. And trust me, that card declined. That was how I did not get that chocolate. So I always like to have cash on hand. That should be one of the things you consider when traveling. This trip reminded me that money is very important. Not only because you can buy flights, accommodations and all those things that you spend money on, but because it helps you to create the overall memories that will live with you forever and ever. As a girl who has traveled to over 8 countries and wants to travel to more places, you will know that money is a huge factor in terms of making your life easy when you travel. So make sure you have your money in check, budget, make plans before you step your foot out of that country, because if there's anything that can make or break your trip, it is money. If anything, I have realized that traveling is not just me wanting to escape from Nigeria. It is a lifestyle that I want to be consistent with, because I get to visit friends, especially being in the UK. I get to live out memories that you mostly see online. If you don't experience this moment yourself, it is completely different from when somebody tells you versus when you see it yourself. So you find that me traveling is one of the ways I have intentionally chose to live. I can talk whenever anybody is talking about any country. I have ideas of what to talk about because it is my lived experience rather than what I heard other people say. And trust me when I say I'm already thinking of where I want to go to next, because traveling will always be a part of my lifestyle. Like, when they say traveling is your only hobby, but it is an expensive hobby that I am willing to always engage in. Traveling is something that I will never give up. As long as I have my life to live, I will continue to travel, and hopefully I get to travel those places that I never thought were possible for me. So the surprise is always welcome. So guys, this is my life lately. I've just gone to the UK, come back, now I'm back in Nigeria to live it out. Now we grind again before we go to the next destination. But this is a life I'm intentionally building, and I'm learning and unlearning along the way. And I hope you're enjoying the journey with me, because I am enjoying it as much as I want you to enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in my next one. If you did like this video and you want to live an intentional life like I am, make sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel, because on here we drop the money tips that are helping us to achieve this lifestyle. On here we talk about everything that is growth, self-development, and everything that is going to help you live life in your best version. I'll see you guys in my next one.